Have you ever stopped to think about how it's possible to feel completely alone next to the person who's supposed to be your closest companion? How strange it is to share the same bed, the same table, the same electricity bill, yet live in completely separate worlds? If you're listening to this and your heart tightened a little, you're not alone. There's a silent pain that millions of people carry every day. The feeling of being in a relationship that is, in reality, just a polite coexistence. Two people living together, but not truly inhabiting each other's inner worlds. Today, we're going to talk about something that deeply touched the heart of Carl Rogers, one of the greatest explorers of the human soul. Rogers dedicated his life to understanding how people can reconnect with themselves and with others in a genuine way. And if there's anyone who truly understood the pain of emotional isolation, even when we're physically close to someone, it was him. Rogers knew that, many times, we build relationships like two houses side by side, close, yet without a door connecting them. Today, we're going to explore this painful experience you might be going through. We'll try to understand why this happens, and more importantly, how you can truly reconnect with the person you love. Because there is hope, even when everything feels cold and distant. You wake up, and he's already in the bathroom. You greet each other with an automatic good morning, barely making eye contact. During breakfast, each of you is on your phone. At the end of the day, you watch TV together, but in truth, you're just sharing the same couch and the same show. Sound familiar? This is one of the most common ways a relationship turns into mechanical coexistence. Routine, what should be the warm embrace of intimacy, becomes a trap that keeps us from truly seeing each other. Carl Rogers spoke of something he called social masks, those roles we create to safely navigate the world. The problem is, sometimes we wear those masks even inside our own home, even with the person who's supposed to know us completely. Think about this. When was the last time you truly looked into your partner's eyes? Not that quick glance of, "Have you seen my keys?" but the kind of look that silently asks, "How are you?" Really? When was the last time you talked about something that truly matters, beyond bills, work, or weekend plans? Rogers believed that human beings have a deep need to be seen and accepted as they truly are. When this need isn't met, not even at home, we begin to wither inside. It's like a plant that gets water, but no sunlight. It survives, but it doesn't bloom. And then that strange feeling starts to creep in. You're with someone, but you feel alone. You share the same space, but no longer the same emotional life. It's one of the most painful forms of loneliness, because it comes with the sense that something is deeply wrong, even if you can't quite name what it is. But why does this happen? Why do two people who once chose each other, who once opened up to one another, end up as polite strangers living under the same roof? Rogers had a very simple, and at the same time, very profound answer to that question. Fear. Fear of not being accepted if we show who we truly are. Fear that if the other person sees us completely, with our insecurities, fears, flaws, and vulnerabilities, they might choose to walk away. So, without even realizing it, we begin to hide. We become the safe version of ourselves, the one who doesn't bother, doesn't confront, doesn't demand too much, doesn't show weakness. The problem is that this safe version also doesn't stir emotion, doesn't connect, doesn't inspire deep love. Think about how this plays out in real life. You come home after a hard day, your partner asks, "How was work?" and you say, "Oh, it was fine." Even though inside you're feeling inadequate, anxious, or afraid, you're not managing all your responsibilities. Why? Because showing those vulnerabilities feels too risky. Or maybe you're feeling needy, craving more attention and affection. But instead of saying it directly, you act distant or irritated, hoping the other person will just get it. And when they don't, you close off even more, creating a cycle that only drives you further apart. Rogers noticed something very insightful. The more we try to be perfect in order to be loved, the less genuine love we're able to receive. Because true love isn't for the edited version of ourselves. It's for who we are when all the defenses come down. It's like offering someone a perfectly polished photo of yourself, then feeling disappointed that they're not falling in love with the real person sitting in the room. But how could they? They don't even really know you. So how do we escape this trap? How do we truly reconnect with someone when we've already gotten used to living on the surface? Rogers had a beautiful belief. He believed that every human being has a natural tendency to grow, to become more authentic, more connected, more whole. We don't need to force this. We simply need to create the right environment for it to happen naturally. And that environment begins with a courageous decision. The decision to stop waiting for the other person to change first. The decision to start showing up as your true self, even if it feels scary. This doesn't mean dumping all your problems at once or becoming a completely different person overnight. It means starting small. It means that next time someone asks how you're doing, you answer honestly, "I'm feeling a bit anxious today because of that meeting tomorrow," instead of just saying, "I'm fine." It means looking into the other person's eyes when they speak, truly listening to what they're saying instead of just waiting for your turn to talk. It means asking questions that go beyond the surface. What worried you most today? Instead of, "How was your day?" Rogers discovered something revolutionary about relationships. When one person begins to show up authentically, it creates a kind of silent permission for the other person to do the same. It's as if you're saying, "Hey, this is a safe space to be real. I'll go first, and you can come when you're ready." But be careful. This requires patience. If you've spent months or even years living on the surface, things won't change in a single conversation. It's a gradual process of rebuilding mutual trust, of rediscovering who you really are when you're no longer playing a role. You know that feeling of coming home after a long, exhausting day? The relief of taking off your shoes, letting your hair down, being yourself without having to impress anyone? That's exactly what a true relationship should feel like. Rogers called this unconditional acceptance. But let's use simpler words. It's the ability to love someone not despite their flaws, but including them. It's looking at the person you chose and saying without words, "You can be yourself here. Your insecurities, your fears, your strange little quirks, all of that is welcome here." But to create this kind of space, we must first accept ourselves. Because it's very hard to offer someone something we don't have. If you're constantly judging yourself, criticizing every word you say, every move you make, how can you offer a safe space for someone else to be authentic? Here's a reflection that could change everything. What if, instead of trying to be the perfect person for your relationship, you tried to be the truest one? What if, instead of hiding your vulnerabilities, you shared them as bridges to deeper intimacy? Because that's what happens when two people decide to stop performing and start truly living together. They stop merely sharing a roof and begin building an emotional home. A place where both can finally rest from the exhausting need to be perfect all the time. This doesn't mean the problems will disappear. It means you'll face them together, as a team, instead of each one silently struggling while pretending everything's fine. If you've made it this far, you're probably asking yourself, okay, but where do I start? How do I actually do this in practice? Rogers always said that the deepest change begins with the simplest one: stop pretending. So my invitation to you today is this. Choose a moment, maybe even today, and be genuine about something small. It could be admitting that you're feeling a bit insecure about something. It could be expressing a need you usually keep to yourself. Today, I really need a longer hug. Or, I've got something on my mind. Do you have a few minutes to talk? It doesn't have to be dramatic or life-changing. It just needs to be real. And here's the most important part. Do it without expectations. Don't do it to get the other person to change. Do it because you deserve to live in authentic relationships. Do it because you're tired of playing a role in your own life. Rogers had unshakable faith in the power of authenticity. He believed that when we start showing up as we truly are, it sparks the courage in others to do the same. But even if that doesn't happen right away, you'll already have gained something incredibly valuable: the freedom to be yourself. And remember, if you find that, even in your full authenticity, you still can't reconnect, maybe that's important information too. Maybe it's time to have deeper conversations about what you both truly want from each other and from life. Relationships aren't fixed contracts we sign once and for all. They are living, breathing organisms that need to be nurtured every day, with real presence, genuine listening, and the courage to be vulnerable. If you're in a relationship that has grown cold and distant, it doesn't mean you've failed as a couple. It simply means it's time to ask yourselves, who are we today? What do we need from each other now? How can we rediscover one another? Maybe you got lost in the midst of responsibilities, expectations, and fears. Maybe you forgot that you chose to be together, not just to split bills and tasks, but to share a life, with everything beautiful and difficult that comes with it. The good news is, as long as you're willing to try, there is always a new chance to reconnect. There is always a new opportunity to build real intimacy, to create a relationship where both people feel at home. Rogers deeply believed in the human capacity to grow and transform, no matter how long we've been stuck in painful patterns. And that transformation doesn't need to be perfect or dramatic. It can be gentle, gradual, full of attempts and fresh starts. What matters is that you begin. What matters is choosing, today, to step out of the comfort zone of automatic living and take one small step toward genuine connection. Because you deserve more than just sharing a space. You deserve to truly find each other, every day, as two people who consciously choose not just to share a roof, but a whole life. If this video touched something in you, if you saw yourself in this conversation, leave a like so more people can find these reflections. Share it with someone who might be going through the same thing. Sometimes, just knowing we're not alone is already the first step toward change. And tell me in the comments, when was the last time you had a truly deep conversation with someone you love? Let's create a space here for mutual support and connection. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you won't miss our next conversations about building more authentic and transformative relationships. Until next time, and remember, you deserve to love and be loved exactly as you are.